Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday evening, the 8th of February. Here we are at SMO Gaming Simulations. We are at the SMO Speedway. So this is a fun race. This is not for points tonight. But SMO has been around a very long time. They've been around 22 years. They are celebrating their 22nd year as a league. So this is the SMO reunion race. 22 years of sim racing. I love that. I love that these leagues have been around so long and they're still just as strong as ever. And SMO has their very own track, so this is going to be very fun. We've done broadcasts with these guys many times before, and we have been at this track before. The drivers love it. So anyhow, let's get to it. My name is Blaine Donlin, joined by the one and only Rod Weston. Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Out for some fun race. Not quite like the last New Year's bash that we had. That one was a more free-for-all enduro style. No, this is an actual race, but it's a bragging race. You know, you go out there and just for the year you can say that you won the reunion race. So they're going to go out there. It's kind of a neat track. I want, you know, you'd want to say it's like Daytona, but I don't think it's really as banked as high. I'm not really sure. It's a neat track though.
Yeah, and it's I can't remember what it is. Is it a mile and a half? 1.77 miles in length, this thing. So yeah, it's kind of like
Daytona, but yeah,
like
you know,
Riki Raceway. That's another fictional one that's sort of like this, 3 or 4 lanes wide, a little bit shorter than Daytona. It does have the dog leg on the front, so it's not a perfect oval.
Yeah,
and you know, there'll be a lot of. Well, I can show people the screen I'm looking at right now, actually.
We're familiar with most of the guys over there. They got a few new guys that we, you know, have to learn. A lot of Dodges out there tonight. 1 Toyota so far and 1 Ford. And then I believe there's 2 or 3 Chevys. And then the rest of them are all pretty much Dodges. So it'll be fun to see them guys do it. This is interesting to see. We don't know much about, you know, we've done the broadcast here before, but we don't know much about it per se. You know, how it races. You know, is there a top groove? Are they going to be 2 wide, 3 wide? We'll learn that as we go. But ooh, I watched Viper get a little bump, little help from Zach Tyndall, and got him a little out of shape.
What you're seeing on screen right now is the 2026 season here at SMO that kicks off next Sunday, and we will be broadcasting the race. Nope.
Nope, you're looking at last year's.
I'm looking at last year's. I updated all this stuff and then totally did not update it, I guess. What can we do here? That's old too. What happened to all my stuff? How about this one? That works. Okay, give me a second here. I'm going to update that. What do we got here left in qualifying? 3 minutes? That's good enough. We can make this work. But yeah, they've run a full season here. The schedule that they have is they've actually put little Tarnation TV logos on it, so we know when we are, you know, when we're working for these guys. Oh, I see what I did. What?
Remember, the error is human. To really mess things up, you need a computer.
Yeah. Okay, so I did have it right. Actually, I just put it on the wrong button. I had an old button, and I was using the old button. I forgot to delete the old button. So now I know this.
Yeah, if you guys are looking for a group of guys to race with, I do know they race Sundays and Mondays.
And if you're looking for professional broadcasting, maybe look elsewhere. That was pretty awesome. So yeah. This is an awesome group of guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
Great group of guys. Some of the guys aren't here usually. John Wall, I know on Wednesdays he bowls, so I don't know, but he's a conductor, engineer, whatever. I don't know what they call the guys that sit up front and drive them, but he drives a train. So sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. You know, he's also got a family, so. And then I haven't seen Chris Aiken out there tonight yet.
Yeah,
some of these guys for quite a while. So
yeah, some of the top guys aren't out there. Some new names though, like we had Zach Tyndall. We got Crentley out there. I think I remember that name, Crentley. I believe we've dealt with him before.
To me, that's two new guys that I haven't, known, and Crentley's the only Ford out there tonight so far.
Right.
Obviously, we got
look at the view that these guys get coming. Okay, we're just gonna. Right now, they're in practice. Look at that view coming down the front straightaway. They got the setting sun right in their face.
Oof.
So this is going to be. We're just on board right now with Robert Spring in the 74 car doing some practice laps. But you can see this is a twilight version at the track. So the sun is setting. Coming down the back straight, you're okay.
I always kind of like
coming around the front, it is blinding.
I always kind of like to keep that just because it makes it more realistic. And of course, I drive in the cockpit anyway, so. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that sometimes there are certain tracks. I believe it's such the Charlotte track. Sometimes you come off the corner and you go down a straightaway and you can't see nothing.
Do you run with the flare? Because for the broadcast, I turn the sun flare on, but when I'm racing, I usually turn sun flare off.
I've had it turned, see, just like what you were talking about with Robert. I usually have it on. I think I've turned it off last time I raced, which has been a few days, only because we got to a track where it was so bad that, it was going to be a detriment. I couldn't see a darn thing, so I decided it would be better off to turn that off. But I kind of like having it on. I like having the smoke. Really, I used to have the realistic smoke. I really like that.
You run cockpit like we're looking at right now. Do you run the window grime and everything?
Yep.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. That's always super cool. Do you use an updated grime texture? Because I know some of these guys actually have.
No, I don't have that. I used to have the real smoke, which I liked. The only downside to the real smoke is the smoke that comes with the game, factory when you get it. It does, you can see the smoke, but you can kind of see through it a little bit. Mm-hmm. With the realistic smoke, it's like realistic smoke. It's hard to see. The guys are heading out to do their qualifying.
I just looked at something here too. Am I in the wrong car? I'm in a 0. John Wall is usually a 0, right?
Yep, he is.
But he's not here.
As of yet, no.
Well, qualifying right now, so he's too late.
Yeah, well, he'd have to get in right now is really pretty much, so he'll be all right for tonight. Yeah,
I think he'll be okay. I just realized that. I realized this too, just like you did. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this mod. If you don't know what mod you're running, we're running the Xfinity 2017 mod, and I thought I'd run it before, but I guess I'd only run the 2020 version. So I install a brand new mod and forgot to create myself a new car with a crazy number that wouldn't step on any of these guys. So
I kind of like this mod as far as the car appearance. They looked cool. Back then, they were trying to do more with the Xfinity steers. Was kind of the pony cars, so they had the Camaro, they had the the Dodge Challenger, Ford had the Mustang. Eventually they got to where Toyota had the Supra, but that was a few years. They ran kind of a Camry kind of thing. Then the Cup were running like the SS, and then I don't remember what the Fords were running. I don't know if they were still running the Fusion or whatever, but they didn't have the. I just think the pony cars look better. I get to see so far in qualifying Josh Boyer, name I haven't heard for quite a while. Raced with him a lot over at TMP and over here at SMO. Really, really, really good driver. A lot of fun to race against him. Not only is he good, but good, clean, fun driver to race with. Still got about 40 seconds of qualifying to go. Jamie Tedder has taken Josh off the front row. Got about 30 seconds left, so we'll see what happens. It should be a good race between Jamie Tedder and Josh Boyer if they both are on the front row.
Sorry, my dog's just clawing the carpet.
Yeah, it's all good. Just getting ready to do the rundown on it if we can get through it. So far, Jamie Tedder on the pole. So Jamie Tedder, we'd say an SMO regular, one of the admins here. Look at that! I beat you in qualifying. Yeah.
Did you? Thank goodness.
Yep, one position.
I Oh, nice. Okay. Got me by
We
one.
beat Zach Tendel's backup car. He must have come in with a wrong number and then had jumped back into this correct number, which is 13.
Ah.
So that's good though. We've got 12 drivers for tonight. Sometimes people are complaining about small groups of people. I really think that's kind of a fun, it makes it better. So let's go down through the qualifying. Jamie Tedder on the pole. Outside is going to be Josh Boyer. Then there's the guy with the coolest name, Crocodile Cromp, starting third. Viper is going to start fourth. Tom Musa, we dealt with Tom there Wednesday at TMP. He's the admin over there. Comes over here and races. Josh, too. He was one of the winners Wednesday night. He is starting sixth. RC, we call him, but Dick Jordan is in the 61 is going to fire off in the seventh position. And then a couple of the new guys to me, but Alex Crentley is going to start eighth. Zach Tindell is going to be ninth. Robert Spring is out there tonight. He got an invite to come over and decided to come and try it. So he is at starting 10th of the night. The sneaky, conniving guy you got to watch out for, Dennis Chambers, because that guy is always got a something up his sleeve. He's always using the strategy to the best of his ability. And then rounding out the field is going to be Jim Jordan.
Jernigan.
Jernigan, that's right.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him for a while either. But I haven't been over here racing with these guys.
So yeah, the reason we're on Chambers is because we saw him win a race on a fuel strategy that made no sense, and it was we were flabbergasted that he made it work. That guy is unreal. He
started the race, realized in a short period of time that he started running kind of like everybody else, and started thinking about it a little bit, started clutching, started backing off, started saving, and it just worked out into his favor, and he made one less pit stop than everybody else did and secured the win.
Yeah, it was a wild strategy. He ran a little bit slower, like he was getting passed all night, but you know what? At the end of the day, having to do one less pit stop, These guys up here in the cheap seats. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a neat track. Like you said, Robert Spring got the invite to come out here. He's going to like it, man, because these guys can run wide open about 180, 190 mile an hour on this whole track and never have to lift.
Yeah.
Thanks to the CTS physics, I believe, is what this mod is. I
think it's GNS.
I think.
It is. I'm not 100% positive, but I do. When I was talking to Robert earlier about it, and he said it's the GNS one. So could not, but it makes sense. It is the GNS. It is the what they call the Bush series or whatever, which is the less power.
So if these guys are running solar flares, this is what they're looking at coming down the front straightaway here. Yeah. It's the sun and it's a setting, and my goodness, it's blinding. If they run solar flares, we can do an example here, actually. If we run in here to the options menu, you can actually shut that off. I won't because it looks cool to do it, but where are we? Solar effects. You shut that off, and that's what it looks like. You can see the sun right there, that little orange dot beside the light. But it doesn't do sun stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder if anybody out here has actually got solar effects on.
I would imagine.
That is quite the contrast,
right.
As you can see right there.
Very bright.
It'll be cool in the broadcast, so I love leaving that stuff on.
Yep.
Adds a little bit of layers.
Trying to figure out who Robert Spring has got for a sponsor on that thing. It's a little hard to see. I'm going to have to take a little check around here for a minute.
Let's check him out here. We can get him.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
It's purple.
The grill cage is purple. And Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on the front of it.
Yep. And museum.
Yeah. I'm going to sneak it over to... He's right beside Crentley there, so I'm going to look out the drive.
What's Crentley got going on here? Harbor Freight. Number 9. That's a cool looking. Looking car.
It's actually a pretty neat looking rig. Except the only Ford.
Can't you see it with all the sun flare? Yeah, probably not.
Only Ford out there tonight. There's Robert Springs in the only Camry tonight. RC and Tom Musa are in the only Camaros out there, and the rest of them are all Dodge Challengers. Which is kind of funny because Musa's always in a Ford, so he must have just grabbed. I don't know if Tom's been running over here on a regular basis or not, so he might have just grabbed the 4.
Yeah, as these guys are wrapping up here in happy hour, they will be using the pit stop, as you can see, on the back straightaway, which is a little different here.
Yeah, I remember that. It's really weird. Because I can remember. Ooh.
So if you take the wrong pit, that's the thing. You're usually pitting on the front straightaway.
Yeah.
But here we use the back. So if they tend to head to the pits, that could be a costly mistake if they're not paying attention.
Drivers, to your
They're
car.
getting lined up. You got to remember, you got to let yours run through.
Yep.
And I got to remember to make sure I'm live.
Me too. Well, at least 1 second behind live, so I can use the free cam. But either way. So who
Jamie,
we got here? Let's see.
Did I see what you had there? They're going to do segments kind of thing?
No, that screen, I didn't. I thought I updated it, but I didn't save it. So that was from the 3 races we had, or maybe even the 2. Which was the one we did where they did 2 races in one night?
Yeah, that was from the New Year's Bash.
Yeah, that was the Bash race. It's set up for the Bash, so I forgot to save it. I changed that, and I changed the schedule, and then I forgot to save it. So it's there somewhere, but because usually like yesterday, I kind of set it up and then forgot to actually implement it. Apparently, so there's Crocodile Crop. There's Viper. Ross Chastain is that. Tom Musa. RC Jordan. Josh 2. I'm reading the names above the door frames on these cars. Alex Crentley. Zach Tyndall. Dennis Chambers. Oop, missed one. That's Robert Spring. Dennis Chambers. And Jernigan still on pit road. We'll get to get a good look at a lot of these cars here as they pace around. But yeah, Tedder on the pole. We'll see these guys again next week for their season opener. I believe they use trucks. I'm pretty sure they use the 2015 truck mod. We'll be at Daytona International Speedway, as will most other leagues, because that's when the actual NASCAR season starts up next week.
Any league that follows it will depends on how they do it. We do have to find out when ASR is doing that Wednesday night one. I think it was the 28th, but I'll have to check in on that because I want to make sure I'm part of that. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss a few of them for our broadcast with TMP, but that's okay. We'll still get there and have some fun.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to be had.
Sneaky guy there, Dennis Chambers, did not qualify, so he is way there in the back, and keep your eye on that guy. He's going to be one of the guys if there's a strategy to be held, he'll find it.
Yep. 70 laps on the clock tonight. Header off to a great start.
Just going to say that. He's got a great start. Pulls up in front of Boyer.
Wide track.
It's going to be a drafting track.
Yeah.
That much we do know, and I believe, if I remember correctly, because I think when we ran it the last time with them, you can run it flat out. So it's, pretty much just like Daytona. But I believe near the end of the run, you might have to lift just a little bit. I think tire wear is a little more prevalent on this track than it is what you usually see at Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah, because this is about a quarter mile shorter than Daytona, and the banking's not there either.
Josh 2 coming off from I believe that is turn 2. Kind of bounced off the wall a little bit.
It's SMO though. They don't use damage here.
That's right too.
Yeah.
That's a good plus with that. The reason why they don't do that is that way everybody can finish the race. You know, the only time you got to be cautious of that, there are certain leagues you really would not want to do that with, only because then you invite the, people starting to run in, start running into people and causing issues, and you don't want that.
Yeah, I mean, they toss you out pretty quick if you start doing stuff like that, but that's still a problem, because if it does happen, that's horrible that it has to happen and to lead to somebody getting booted. And you're ruining somebody's night, because, yeah, sure, it's just a video game, but it's because it is a simulator. Being a simulator, these guys pour a lot of hours into this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Practicing, so it's like to get your night ruined by some clown, it's just horrible.
Back in the good old days of the Sierra Lobby.
Oh, yeah.
Chambers has already made up 2 spots, currently in the 9th position. I was just kind of went back to see what he was doing. Just methodically working his way up there. We're only on lap 4.
There's a Viper in 3rd. We're going way back to the field here. 4th position, Josh 2 currently.
Crocodile Cromp is back to 6th. Now, he started 3rd, but Jamie Tedder went to that high side. Crocodile didn't have really much help up there, so down there, sorry. And so then he ended up dropping back a little bit, but now he's right behind Tom Musa. They're getting themselves, drafting up and whatever. They should be able to catch up to that front pack, especially if that front pack starts racing a little bit.
That's a very, I'm looking at Cromp's car. Very cool, simple paint scheme. That's sharp.
Yeah. It's kind of an old school kind of, but yeah. It's
almost
just,
like an Earnhardt type of thing, yeah. Zachary Tyndall back there in 3rd. 13th. Is it Zach? Is it Zachary or Zachariah?
Zach.
I think it's just Zach.
Oh, so he's one of... so there's 3 Chevys. Okay. I didn't take a look at... hadn't really, when I was going through and checking out the makes of the cars, Crocodile Croc wasn't out there, so he is a 3rd Chevy that's out there tonight.
Now they're doing about 178 in the turns, and they're almost getting to 200 on the straightaways.
And while we were kind of focusing on some of the other people in the back there, Josh Boyer snuck around Jamie Tedder and has taken over the lead in Ohio State, I think it says. I think it's probably the school. He is a band teacher.
Bobcats.com is what it says on the thing, yeah.
Now, I could change it. I guess if I change into camera TV1, I can't see him on the front stretch, so. I knew Josh would be up here. I haven't raced with him for a long time. We've had a lot of fun racing, especially with TMP doing the late models. We had a lot of good races with that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm being in cahoots with all these guys too. Like we do the broadcasts with them. We try to get on the track with them sometimes. Josh is always sending us out the reminders too on Facebook, which we thank him for that. But it's funny how are they? You know what? On Thursdays, they run IndyCar.
We're running
here.
IndyCar, yeah.
I wonder if they're still doing it because
Not
Thursday
sure.
at RTG they're taking a week off. I should grab an open wheel car and get out here and use a 7-gear gearbox.
Yeah, I don't know if they still do that or not. We'll have to. Should we get a chance to talk to Jamie or some of the other guys? We'll have to, find out because I think John Wall was doing that.
And I don't know because that's been going for a while. They might be that series might be over.
Right.
Because they do take breaks in between series and they switch it up.
Looking back there, Josh too had kind of dropped back a little bit, but he kind of dropped back to where Tom Musa and Crocodile Cromp was. So now they've got 3 cars running out there. They are a little behind. They're about just a little over 2 seconds behind. But getting 3 cars together, I think if they can form up and get in a nice tight draft, they'll have a better chance of catching those front 3 that are in a really nice tight formation.
Yeah, the drafting works, like you said, they do have to lift we can see here they have to lift a little tiny bit getting into the corners.
Yeah. It's a, I think it's kind of cool that when you've got a track like that you have to kind of lift just a little bit. I'm going to look back there just to see there's another group behind them. There's 5 cars in it. Robert Spring was leading that pack. Dennis Chambers is kind of rolling around the outside with him. I think probably Bob's going to end up going to the back of those guys, being that he's all by his lips. No, I'd say that, and the number 9 of Alex Crentley gets down there and starts giving him a little bit of a push, gets him back up to speed. These guys have really kind of, now that Dennis Chambers has got out in front of them, they just need to settle in behind Dennis and just kind of, to help push him up towards the lead so they can all get up there.
Yeah, the drafting does work here. It would be kind of neat if they could get her all lined up and see if they can reel in that front pack. Great setup tonight, too. We haven't really seen anybody get too loose or anything, so they've really got this setup dialed into. We are running fixed, so every single car will be running the same setup.
Like I said, when they have to lift a little bit, they have to be probably a little bit cautious about, just being gentle on that right front tire. I imagine with new tires, they can probably really just hammer down and go. But it'll be interesting to see at the end of the run. Now, I didn't get a chance to ask, what they got for fuel, but at 2X pit, being that it is about, it's close and similar to the Daytona and whatnot, they get about 19, 20 laps of fuel.
Would it tell you in the garage?
I didn't look. Let me go do that.
Sometimes the gallons in the garage.
Yeah, it says 22 gallons will give you 28 laps. That's, I think, at Daytona at 2X, it tells you in there that it gets 29 laps. So I would imagine that we're pretty close to that. We're creeping up on lap 15. So we'll know here shortly if people start pitting.
Yeah, because that estimate in the garage is usually a little bit off.
Yeah, especially when you get out there. But if we're correct in our thinking, if they have to be a little bit cautious and have to lift just a little bit, you're going to get a little more distance there because they're lifting off the throttle to get through the corner.
Yeah, like you said too, and a longer run that could help tire wear a little bit too.
Yep. I was just looking to see how Josh 2, Tom Musa, and Crocodile Crump are doing as far as catching up. And they've lost about a half a second. They need to get into a little bit tighter formation, I think, to be able to catch those front guys. Because look at the front 3, they're pretty much, once they get out through the corner, they're like tight, nice and tight together. That last time they come off the corner, they weren't quite as tight, but
well, that's the thing too. You've got 5 guys back there, and they're racing each other a lot more, so they're losing.
Viper's trying to get underneath.
Yep.
Josh Boyer, and with Jamie Tedder back there. Yeah, Josh Boyer runs over here, often. I don't know if he's back running full time over here or what he's doing. You would think that SMO boys would get together, and just as I say that, they do. Probably try to push, I think Jamie Tedder will try to push Viper past Josh Boyer so he can get that lap left. No points, but
people still race like that though. It's just in the bones. Oh, we gotta lead that lap. Why? It's a one-off race.
Yeah, but it is the way it is. Just looking at the thing there, of course, Mackenzie wants to know who's driving the pace car. Well, we're not doing that tonight. But we could put Mackenzie in. Yes, I don't know. Then she says the Seahawks are winning. So.
Oh, there you go. If you're a Seattle fan, go Seahawks.
Somebody asked me something about the Super Bowl earlier, and I said, well, who's playing?
Yeah, I don't even know either.
Yeah.
Clearly it's the Seahawks.
my favorite football team is the Bears. And there's a funny story, a little short story behind it, but Buddy called me up and said, hey, what are you doing? We're having a Super Bowl party. We got a keg. 2 key words, party and keg.
Yeah, party keg.
So I showed up, tapped keg, we started playing pool.
Ooh, all 3 of them slapped the wall on that one. Coming at it.
Boyer didn't hit it as hard as Viper did, but anyways, I get up there and I ask everybody who's playing. They said, looked at me like I was from Mars and said, you don't know? And I said, not a clue. I said, well,
Yeah,
New England Patriots, Chicago Bears. I said, all right, well, who's going to win? Everybody said the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
So I
Gotta be the guy.
put money on the Bears.
Yep. I'm the same way.
Been a Bears fan ever since.
Yep. I'm the same way. I'll always go for the other team that the people aren't going for because I'm not a massive sports fan. I do usually watch the big games though, but
I used to watch the Super Bowls every year just because they were fun to watch.
Yeah,
And they were usually a good game.
In a room with my brothers and my dad, and like, you know, when you get a room full of people, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a solo sports watcher. It's got to be in a room full of people and we're all yelling at the TV and we order pizza and, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's the community event, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're up to lap 22.
Yeah, I've been focused on the leaders here for the last 4 laps or so because I'm curious to when they're going to pit. So
I've been keeping an eye on the chat to see when they start announcing that they're going to pit. And they haven't yet, so...
And they've got to watch where they're going to pit because we got to...
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
One. So here it is, pit lane 2.
I happen to be stepped up there asking questions and stuff like that earlier when I believe it was Jamie Tedder was explaining where pit road was. Mm-hmm. So the easy way to find it is if you look down at the bottom of the track, when they exit turn 2, you'll see they're actually really big arrows that kind of curve. That's the entrance to pit road.
There they are there. Yeah, just in drone cam flying around.
Yeah.
So that's how you know that marks the actual pit lane.
Yeah. And it's still, where this track is, there is a pit, like you said earlier, there is a pit road on the front stretch. And, you know, your brain is so used to doing that. I remember, I think I ran here once when they did one of these, and you know, it was so you wanted to drive down there because it, you know, it's just your brain's programmed to do it on the front stretch.
Yeah, you're coming out of turn 3 and 4, and you're like, okay, time to pit. And you're like, no, don't do it.
It's not the right way to do it.
Kind of a neat thing, like, you know, these fictional tracks are cool in that respect. We're like, okay, hey, how about we do this? You know. Model it off of something else, maybe Rockingham or whatever this might mimic, but then flip the pit road to the other side of the track, or put it in a turn, or put it on the outside of the track. Some of the super short tracks do pitting on the outside of the track, so you got to go to the right and then come back in to the high line when you exit back onto the track. So it's cool to and I mean some of those ones aren't fictional; those are just modeled off of really short tracks. There's no room to put all the cars.
You know, Monadnock, it's pretty realistic with Monadnock because I've raced there. You know, leaves the same way.
I know Seekonk is another one I have on here. That's such a great looking track in the game. And Seekonk, you have to exit to the right to get into the pit lane on the outside because it's only 0.3 or 0.4 miles long. It's so small you can't get everybody on the infield.
We got our first pit road taker. It looks like Robert Spring is pitting.
Crocodile Cromp down there also.
Here goes Josh Boyer headed down pit road.
He's our race leader.
Josh has led 22 laps. Jamie Tedder had led 4. And ironically, the fastest car so far tonight is Josh 2 out there with a 192.747.
Nice.
Been green flag all the way, so that's actually cool. I like having green flag runs. I'm watching to see. We see Josh Boyer's in there. He is taking right sides right now currently. Looks like Tom Musa, Josh 2, RC, Alex Crankley, and Robert Springer in there. Josh Boyer took 4 tires and fuel.
Yep. So did Musa.
That's the other thing. I see them when they kind of earlier in practice. I saw the guys that some of them would drive out on the track, and I believe you have to exit out on the back stretch down here. So, yep, that's right where the line ends.
Oh, okay. The current race leader is Viper. He is on pit road now as well. Front pit stall there, Jamie Tedder.
I was just going to say, did Jamie come in with him? And he did. Zach Tyndall is in. Dennis Chambers is in. It was surprising that Dennis Chambers went a little longer.
Oh, yeah, you can see that double line. That'll hold the cars down there.
Yep.
And then once that double line disappears, that's when they're allowed to merge.
Josh.
Yellow flag.
Oh. Josh Boyer just took over the lead. I'm coming off from turn 4. He just passed Jamie Tedder as they were coming off on back onto the track. What are we under caution for is the next question.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it right about now. Somewhere there's a car spinning out. Unless they pulled... Nope, it looks like Jordan. The 61 of Jordan. Looked like he was coming out of the pits and a little bit too early and then overcorrected. Didn't come into contact with anybody, but definitely was a little anxious getting out of there. I think he got up on the... wasn't, he was on the apron and it kind of upset the car and it'll spin the car around because it messes up the suspension.
Basically de-wedged it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What it happens is the way the car's set up, you got springs and stuff and shocks that all hold the car, keep it from bouncing, keeping it from doing some really wild and crazy things. But when you do that, you actually change how the wedge goes into the car, which is how much the down pressure is on the left rear. When you do that, it kind of takes that away from the car, and that's where you see a lot of people get loose.
Oh, okay. So when you do a wedge adjustment, you're cranking on that wrench.
Yep.
And what's it doing to the back of the car?
So basically what it's doing is it is a long bolt, which is about, I think it's about almost an inch around. You put basically an extension, a half-inch extension down in there, and it turns it down. So it's literally pushing down. So it basically pushes that spring downward. So it makes more pressure on that side.
Oh, you're actually tightening up the spring.
Basically, you're making the spring, because how you rate springs is by putting it into a machine when it comes down, and as soon as there's a dial indicator on it, and as soon as that dial indicator rolls up to 0, then you jack it down 1 inch, and that indicator will go up and it'll tell you what it is in pounds. So every spring is done that way. So basically, when you put wedge in it, you've made that spring a little heavier, and that will, in the left rear, it'll make it so that the car is not as tight, loose on exit. If you do it on the right rear, it'll loosen it up on exit.
So these points on the back of the car, on right where it says the word Jordan, you can probably see it on the broadcast there.
The two top ones.
Those 3 orange circles, the 2 on the top are your wedge adjustments.
Right, and the other one is your, what they call a panhard bar adjustment.
Is that track bar?
No, kind of basically, it's in the game they call it a track bar.
Is that the bar we can see under the car here?
Yep. So what that does is it actually hooks to the rear end on one side, and it hooks to the chassis on the other side. And why they have an adjustment there, how it works, if you think about it for a minute, if you got the bar perfectly straight, that's going to push that axle at the furthest it's ever going to go. Okay? If you change the angle of it so that it's either lower or higher, as you can see on there, it's down lower. So what happens is as the car squats, okay, it's going to go up to where it's at level, which is going to move the axle out. Moving the axle out will cause the car to be a little bit looser. If you go the other way, it'll move the axle, keep the axle in, and it'll keep it tighter. Basically on the exit of the corner.
And that's crazy that's all real-time adjustments you can make in the pits for that.
They actually, I forget what year it was, I think for a year or 2 years, they actually had it where the driver could control that adjustment in the cockpit. Really? Yep.
Wow, that's like F1 type stuff.
Yeah, basically it was just it was on a linear actuator that would basically turn the screw and bring it up and down. They could go, so a crew member could go up and adjust it, still.
Right.
But the driver he couldn't do what a crew chief or a crew man could do. But it had only so much of adjustment that they could do.
Yeah, but so he could do minor adjustments from the cockpit if he had to.
Right. And basically what they would do, how they would use that is as the car races, they start out with 22 gallons of fuel. As the fuel goes away, the rear of the car actually gets lighter. So that adjustment, so when it gets lighter, if you have that bar and you want that bar to go exactly square, level, now that you've taken out, we'll say 15, 20 gallons of fuel weighs 7 pounds per gallon.
Okay.
So now it's not dropping like it did before, so they would have that adjustment in there so they could keep it to be where they wanted it to be.
Wow. Now is that manual adjustment for the driver that existed, now it's gone?
Yeah, they only had it for a year or two.
Right. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all that stuff, and that comes into play with an open setup.
Yep.
Because here it's fixed, you can't do that. But in the open setup, what is, I can't remember, F7, F6 on your keyboard to bring up wedge, check bars, tire pressures and all that other stuff. Yeah, and you can put in, take it away, stiffen the car up, blah blah blah.
But what is funny though, you talk about when they do the wedge, they do it in the rear. In the pits, if you want to adjust the wedge, you will take and you'll go to the right front and the left rear. And if you went down one turn on the right front, you'll go down one turn on the left rear. And then if you were trying to do the other way, you would go down on the right rear and the left front. Try to keep it keeps the car at the right height. Pace car does make the trip down pit road. Josh Boyer's still out. The most laps tonight. No points, so that's just bragging rights, but real slow start.
Administrators are in control of the caution flags here too, so they allowed everybody a couple laps and decided to send it green whenever they want to. It's a neat little server-side mod they run here at SMO where they're able to control the yellows without the client needing it, the same executable, which is kind of cool.
We did the same thing at TMP. They just have a little different way of doing it. They let the caution come out by the game itself. They just shorten the pit stops, the length of the cautions up to make it so that we're not, you're not running around there most of the race under yellow flag conditions.
Right. Yeah, they can communicate with the drivers. Like, okay, guys, we're going to do two caution laps and then go back to green flag.
And usually it's always the same.
They can pit and do whatever they got to do. And
Crocodile Cromp, he's getting racy up there in the front. He's worked his way up into the second position. Tried to drive down to the bottom under Josh Boyer, just didn't get any help behind him. So didn't quite, when he pulled out there, it's like pulling out a parachute. You pull out from under behind somebody like that, it doesn't go. It just kind of stops. Kind of like, when you walk into a walk out in the wintertime, you walk out of a nice warm house and you hit that cold, wall of air. It's basically the same thing, but it's more like a break. He's trying it again, but nobody went down with him. We got Tom Musa up there now, currently in the third position. We're just at the halfway point too, so
crossed flags.
No, they can't go the distance. We know there's at least one more fuel stop in there.
Musa making it stick a little bit. Looked like it got a little bit loose right there. I was going to say, looked like it kicked out just a little bit on the back end. Tedder with a good save though, the 910 there.
Luckily, no damage because it's there's no damage on the cars tonight. But he did lose a little bit of that momentum. Crocodile Cromp down from the bottom. He's going to try for the slide job. Yes, he's got it.
Just barely, yeah.
Barely. He'll get that last
good racing up front here.
Flap lead. Excuse me. I got to take a drink because I'm starting to talk funny.
Yeah. You're watching from spectator camera, getting the wide angle. Cromp, your new leader.
To do that, don't have them race brakes. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, Crocodile Crump. That's a show of force right there. He kept kind of watching him, looking at him, feeling him out, figuring it out, and then finally he figured out where he was going to make that move, and he made it.
Yeah,
I think you'll see
now.
Josh. Yeah, I was going to say, I think you'll see Josh just kind of ride around behind him, let him save, let him break the air. He'll save a little bit more fuel.
Mm-hmm. Could be good. Yeah, could be good strategy. But now you've also got Crump looking in the rearview mirror, so he's got to concentrate and hit his marks, keep these guys behind him.
We're seeing, other than Josh Boyer's been up there all night, we're seeing some different players that really haven't been up there most of the night. They've been kind of running back. Some of them even further in the back. They didn't quite get the great start that they wanted. Josh Boyer's down at the bottom, just checking out what he can do there. And we've got Alex. Alex. It's Zach Tyndall up there in the third spot. Viper's making a move underneath him. Kind of neat how I wonder if Zach lifted there a little bit and let him go, or
it's possible. You've got Musa and Josh 2 here fighting for 5th.
Yep. And Dennis Chambers.
Whoa!
Musa loose there.
Musa held
Good
on
save, but that's going to hurt his momentum.
That requires a lot of brake to save that.
Yeah. He's got to he downshifted, got it back up. He's got to try to see if he can stay with Robert Spring there and Alex Crentley to maybe keep him within the lead draft.
Josh 2 underneath the 13 there of Zach Tyndall. The Tyndall drops another spot there to Chambers.
We talked about Chambers being, pretty good strategist too. You don't count out Josh Boyer. He may not be out front leading right now. It doesn't pay any points for leading. He only plays the points for leading that one lap, and that's the last one. As I say that, he makes a charge down to the bottom. I figured he might be just kind of trying to save a little bit. Ooh, he got down on the apron. That's going to hurt him. It de-wedges it a little bit like we talked about earlier, and that just kind of makes you a little loose. He has to kind of lift.
Viper, right all of them.
Oh, yeah. This is, so one of those super speedways, so it's kind of a momentum track. Even though, the latter part of the run, they may have to lift just a little bit, you got to keep that momentum going.
I didn't check who built this track. It's a great little track.
Yeah.
And it's fictional, too, so somebody had to create this from scratch with inspiration from real tracks, obviously, and a lot of testing, because you got to make sure those grip lanes are good. And
that's what I like all about this is, I'm not a big super speedway racer fan myself, but what is kind of cool about this, if it does have the tire wear, which we believe, it makes for a little bit better strategy. You're not just out there running flat out. You can overdo it a little bit maybe and burn your tires up or whatever. So,
and unlike a Talladega where it's a super speedway and you rely on the draft, otherwise you get left behind, this isn't really good. It's necessary here, but it's not that big of a deal. If you tend to make a little bit of a mistake, you're not getting left in the dust. Oh,
ooh, Viper
looking to make it.
Oh no!
Shoot, door banging, Crump.
What a save, though.
It's a good save. He's got to save it again because he can't get that wall. Get that wall stick.
Yeah, now he's got to get that thing back up there, and he's got to get behind Zach Tyndall there. I keep getting them two guys mixed up there, but he's got to get behind him, try to get it back up to speed.
Some good racing out here, trading paint. That's why they put fenders on these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of this track looks like it'd be a lot of fun to race on.
I think it's either Ricky Raceway or Freedom. They all kind of remind me of super speedway, like almost super speedway style racing, but it's a little bit shorter of a track, and it makes it a little bit more frantic. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, Freedom, if I remember correctly on that one, it's almost like, I think the front stretch is like California, or no, the front stretch is like Michigan's front stretch, and the back stretch is like California's front stretch.
And another one I
Kinda
forgot
weird.
too is Edgewater. That's a really fun one too.
There was one, I trying to remember where we ran it and who, I don't remember the track, but it was, when you left the pits, you drove like on an exit or an entrance road for quite a ways. By the time you got
did it have
back out
blue
of the
walls?
track, I don't know. I'm
I
sure
know-
I've got it in my computer, but
I know Armory Digital, Mystical over at Armory Digital had one called Armory Super Speedway, and that's like that. The pit exit's actually banked. It's like
Yeah.
you're racing on your own separate track until you
Yeah.
get to the back straightaway, then you can merge. That's a super speedway too. It's a little bit, I think it's 2.5 mile, maybe 2.6.
yeah, and you have to lift just a little bit on that last corner before you enter, but you come out on the track just about at the full song.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a cool track. We did it. I forget what group it was that we did it. It might have been over here, but we had a lot of fun with that.
Okay, see, we've never broadcasted at Armory then, so that wasn't it. I think I remember. I don't remember what it's called.
Getting a little bit racy up front.
The
it was
SMO
still-
is not a stranger. The league is not a stranger to trying out fictional tracks. Like they
No.
really do embed a lot of fictional stuff into their weekly races. It's very cool.
One
That's
that they did was really, really cool. It was they called it Chicago something, and it was literally, it wasn't even really a figure eight. You can't say that. It was like you would go down the front stretch, come around the corner, go up the hill, and you were on the upper track, and then you go back around and go around turn 3 and turn, well, that would be 8, 7, and 8, and come back out back where the bottom. It was really cool.
Two tracks stacked on top of it. The same track
Yeah,
stacked
kinda
on top
sorta.
of itself. Yeah.
It was kind of neat. I can't remember the name of it. But I do remember. I believe it said Chicago something. But
That's cool. This
Josh-
race for first is wild. It's Chambers now in second, looking at that 41.
Josh too has worked his way up in there too. Crocodile Crump's back right behind him. He's worked his way by Zach Tyndall a little bit there and kind of got himself right up there behind Josh too and Jamie Tedder. So he's back in the draft part of it. So he should be able to, if he's still got tires enough, to continue on. Maybe get back up there and fight for that lead like Josh Boyer and Dennis Chambers are right now. See that we only have one car that dropped out, and that was Jim Jernigan.
I don't think he ever even started the race.
Yeah.
He never left pit road, unfortunately.
Now Viper's trying to get by Dennis Chambers now. The only advantage that Dennis has is he's got Josh Boyer up there in front pulling him through, so. Woo!
Yeah. Just drive where you gotta drive.
It's kind of weird how they're, like I said, we didn't get a chance to go out here and practice, but it's almost like they can drive on that bottom and they get a really, really good run. They lose a little bit on exit, which you would do because you're pinching the corner kind of, a little bit, but they seem to be able to get a nice run down there. Sometimes they can pull it off and, get up beside the leader, but other times they get almost there, but they just can't quite do it.
Yeah, you can hear the lift. They were racing on the back of Dennis Chambers there. They're almost at 200 going down the straightaway, but they do have to lift going in for turns, so that's where you're going to make your passes.
Yeah, that's probably what it's doing. Is like you said, they're lifting a little bit, so the guy behind them is not lifting as much, driving it into the corner, hoping that it sticks and that he can do a crossover and work their way up in front of the car they're trying to pass.
And he gets to 199 right there and has to drop it down to about 175. So that's where you're hoping that your opponent makes a mistake. But you can see Josh Boyer is able to hit his marks. Chambers isn't able to get inside him.
Josh Boyer there. He's pretty smooth.
29-7 Seahawks. We're getting updates on YouTube there from Mackenzie West.
Yeah, it's always funny. Like I said, I never knew who's playing.
Yeah. And this Chambers is all over Boyer. I
Yep.
wonder if he's going to use up everything trying to get around him.
Well, we're creeping up to, oh, what do we got here? 25 laps?
Yeah, this next pit stop will be able to take these guys to the end.
No, we're 15. We're about 15 laps away from the finish. It'll be interesting to see. I don't believe they keep running out there like they are. They can go to quite a ways, actually. I'm trying to think that they went like 27. They're not going to be able to go the distance, so we'll probably see just a splash and go for most of these guys.
Yeah, you figure they'll run it right to the very end, eh?
Yep.
Maybe take 2 tires and a splash and get rolling.
If tires would be iffy, you know what I mean? If they just because it would literally depend on how much fuel you need. If you need a can and a half of fuel, you're going to take 2 tires. If you're going to need a can, you might lose a little time. You get down to half a can or a splash, you don't want any tires.
Right, yeah, because what's the point of taking tires if you're doing a half or like a splash? Like, you're not going to do that.
Although
the reason for taking a splash is making sure you're getting out of there in 5 seconds. Yep.
You're out, and if somebody goes in and takes 2 tires and a splash, you go in and take just a splash of fuel, you're going to beat them out of there. It's going to take probably it's pretty close to the amount if you put 1 can in. Will just about do 2 tires as Josh Boyer's headed down pit road. Looks like who's that right
following him?
Crocodile Crump following him.
Yep. Oh, there's a couple more coming.
Robert Spring locks up a little bit.
Oh, Spring, yeah, he did get it down there though. Okay.
Jordan's down in there. Like we said, Robert Spring got in there a little bit. Alex Crentley's in there. Zach Hendel is in there. It'd be interesting to see. That puts Dennis Chambers out front. He's not pitting this time by. Viper and Jamie Tedder. So Dennis Chambers and Josh too, so far, have not pitted.
Some of these guys are taking 4 tires.
Tom Moose's coming in.
Right on board here with Dennis Chambers from the first position.
Dennis Chambers is coming in this time by. Josh 2's coming in this time by.
Look at that break point. Perfect.
That was a nice pull in there. Even Josh 2 did it a little lower, but he did a really good job of getting in there.
Right along with Chambers to see what he does here.
As I said, what we really didn't do because we were so busy checking up on who's pitting whatnot to see whether Josh Boyer took tires or not. So I'm going to do that real quick. Take a look.
Okay. Most guys took 4. We're on board with Dennis Chambers. He's definitely taking rights. Probably rights only for Chambers.
Got to remember that the pit's on the backstretch.
Yeah.
So I was going to the start-finish line to figure out, when his pitting, and I was like, they're not showing them. So normally, they would be driving down pit road when they hit the, when you hit the thing to see if they're, what they did.
Wow, so Josh 2 with an aggressive merge. I don't know if he's going to get a black flag for that. Tyndall did get a black flag on that last round. Black flag being shown to the 13. I don't know if Josh might get one too. Because it looked to me like he may have merged before that double line went away. Remains to be seen.
John Wall, guys always use the erasing here, but he's elected to watch the Super Bowl, and he says, hey now, y'all started without me, which is funny. And then he said, I should have raced tonight instead of watching this awful football game. Damn Patriots.
Isn't it amazing how a 24-year-old racing sim is more fun than the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, man, I need to be in my game right now. What am I doing watching this stupid football game?
Well,
this race is awesome.
Yeah, and John Wall's missing out on it. I mean, John Wall would have been right there, battling with him like he always is.
Yeah.
So.
Also, though, first time I installed the mod, forgot to create myself a car, John, so the game generated, or put me in as 0. So I stole your number.
Yeah. And then you got to ask, John was the one that was doing the IndyCar series there on Thursday, so John's going to let us know if he's still doing it or not.
Yeah, we broadcast at RTG on Thursday, but they're off this week because of the Daytona 500. I tripped on my tongue on that one. The Daytona, that's hard to say.
So they're doing what? Are they doing the duels on Thursday? Is that what it is?
Yeah, RTG takes the whole weekend off because it's just, there's duels going on and all the racing that happens in Daytona week, right? So it's like, you know what? They just drop that day and get it back there on the 19th.
Come on in.
Musa again. Is that? Oh, that's Viper. Really working that wall coming off too. There's some orange on that wall down there.
John Wall said he should have come in and accommodated. Then he says, "I'll rent the number 2 out for you for a small fee."
Oh, nice. Okay.
Josh 2's coming up and trying to make a pass there on Crocodile Crom. We're still out front. We're about 5 laps to go. Now remember, they're out here, they're fighting for bragging rights and a chance to get out here and get interviewed tonight.
This is what Josh is looking at right now. He's looking at a giant ball of fire in the sky. Can't see nothing. That sun is unreal.
Yeah. I'd imagine probably most of them had to shut off. But
I'm thinking, most of these guys probably shut off.
Look at this. Josh 2 goes to the high side.
Passes him on the right.
Dennis Chambers goes right with him. That gives him that extra little bit of a push that he needs. Moves Dennis Chambers up into the 3rd. Coming to the line, it's going to be, 3 laps to go?
Yes, sir. Oh, that camera on the start line shows the flag is moving. They have a little bit of wind here tonight. Usually they run 0 wind, don't they?
Yeah, but... Oh, yeah. They have got it. I bet you they are, because it's clear 68 degrees with 5-mile-an-hour wind. So they may actually do what I used to do in my league. They run it open weather, so random weather, but you go into the track INI and you change it a little bit so that it stays within a certain certain kind of range. So you never really get cloudy.
Yeah,
it doesn't go cold, 50 below. 115
Fahrenheit and blowing engines up.
Yeah. And John Wall says that the 85 of Josh 2 is out there using egg yolks for fuel.
Yeah, it would be like a great, the open setup that ASR does. They should turn weather on realistic.
Well,
that's a whole other dynamic that nobody thinks about in this game too. Is like most of the time these leagues run weather off, really, like clear 70 degrees, nothing, no wind, nothing. Well, crank up that heat. Watch these things boil tires.
You can go in and some of them actually have a program that I think it's Race LM. You can go in and adjust it in there, but you can adjust it to decide how it's going, where the variables of it going to be, plus or minus, and so.
Yeah, like
there we go. Last lap,
final lap. Yep.
Josh Boyer out front. Dennis Chambers is right on his rear bumper.
He got to.
Josh 2 is back there in 3rd.
I don't think Chambers got enough time though.
We'll have to see. Boyer's right, driving out of that rear view mirror right now.
Yep. Trying to shake the
I was just going to say, Boyer's smart. He'll go to the bottom. Okay, that takes it away from Dennis Chambers.
Dennis isn't going to be able to get him.
Nope, coming to the line. Josh Boyer's going to be a winner. Dennis Chambers 2nd. And it looks like Josh 2.
Josh 2, 3.
Josh is eggs, man. That's why he's running on egg yolks. Comes out there in the 3rd spot.
Nice. What a great race.
That was awesome. 1 caution, I think, the whole night, wasn't it?
I'm showing 1 caution flag, 4 laps under yellow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Josh, too, did still end up getting the fastest lap, although he stepped it up a little bit and went up to a 193.563. So he was able to get it up there a little bit more. Here's burning it down there. I think he saw a blade of grass through the race that he didn't like, so he had to go down and knock it over.
Yeah.
I lost him in all the smoke.
Congratulations, Josh Boyer in the 41. OhioBobcats.com. And I just noticed the front of it. It said Hellcat, but he crossed it out and put Bob. That's cool. Just noticing that now. Oh, we're gonna be inside the wall here.
Hey, he's burning it down. So let's see if we can find that Josh 2 guy here. Oh, I see it. Yep, Bobcat. Ah, that's a
cool.
good one. Yep. That is awesome.
Alrighty then. Let's flip over to the schedule here while we save up replays and whatnot.
Gotta be.
Oh, yes, you do. So we got you. I don't have to see if you're there.
I'm here.
Yeah, so not a bad race for you. You ran up kind of front for a little bit, got kind of went back a little bit at the first run there. You guys kind of got I think it was Jamie Tedder, Josh Boyer, and Viper kind of got away from you guys. One caution for the evening. That one caution kind of brought you, back into play. And some good aggressive driving. You got yourself up there in the third spot.
Yeah, that caution for me came at a perfect time because I did not have a good pit stop the first go round. So it did bring us back together. And yeah, there was some pretty good racing there at the end. Dennis got by me and the tires were wore out. I couldn't do anything else. So I was pretty happy with third.
So now we noticed kind of sort of watching it, you guys, the speeds in the corners have really kind of slowed down. So you kind of had to, it's like you race like a super speedway, but you had to kind of lift just a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, especially in turns 1 and 2.
I think that's kind of cool to have a super speedway like that, where you gotta be a little more cautious on the tires a little bit, be more gentle with them. I kind of like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, we were kind of wondering that it was, which paid off for you. You had a really aggressive exit that last pit stop coming off there. You were sailing that thing, and it helped you out. It got you out there. You got the speed up, so when you got out there, that you didn't get behind it all. But we were wondering how close that was being to get you into a black flag area.
Well, I've been bitten so many times coming off pit road and then losing the draft by a tenth or two. And so I tried to be really aggressive, and it almost messed me up because I was trying to not run over Dennis, and I was not paying attention to the F2, and the sun was actually in my eyes coming off of pit road, and Josh Boyer and Dennis flew by me. But what's crazy about that is I ended up being 1.1 seconds behind Dennis, and if I would have been any farther away, I would have just lost the draft. So I've been bitten by that so many times coming off pit road and barely missing the draft. So I felt like I had to be pretty aggressive coming off.
And we were wondering if any of you guys out there ran the solar effects. I used to always run it, and Blaine was showing earlier in the broadcast and whatever how bright that sun was. So you having it out there, I can see when we went on the roof, I think it was, of Robert Spring's car coming off the corner, and you couldn't see anything. So that's pretty tricky that you still run that.
Yeah, I like to have it on until I don't. In that case, it would have been nice because I didn't even see Josh coming, and he said something, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I looked at the F2, and I was like, yeah, they are coming. So, but I was focused on Dennis. I didn't want to run him over. He had a little bit of a slower exit off pit road, and I just knew if I lost that draft, I was, I had no shot.
Absolutely. And I say that, I've run the solar effects a lot, and there are some tracks you really have to shut it off for, just because you can't. You just can't see nothing.
Yeah, they was pretty bright on this one for sure.
So, tonight doesn't pay anything. There's no points, no nothing, just bragging rights. Unfortunately, you didn't quite get the chance to, to say that you're the champion of the race for the, this year. That's going to go to Josh Boyer. But all in all, good night. I had a good group of people. John Wall was in the chat there, and he was saying that he should have come race instead of watch the Super Bowl. But that's probably how you lost a few of the drivers that you guys had, was the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, this is always a night that most people are watching the Super Bowl, and I know John was watching the Super Bowl. I think Chris had something personal that was going on, and I'm sure a lot of guys were watching the Super Bowl. Tom Goodman's always here; he's probably watching. So it's all good. We always do this race the week before Daytona, and so next week we'll kick up the truck mod on Sunday nights. With a kind of a cup schedule. It's a cup/truck tribute schedule. And if anybody's looking for a place to race, come and join us for the trucks.
Yeah, a lot of fun racing over here. I race with you guys quite a bit. And, I'd like to get back to it, but either broadcasting or real life has kind of gotten me kind of busy, where Sunday nights are a little bit harder for me to come in and do it. But
right.
Good group of guys. Love racing with you guys. A lot of fun. So, Blaine, you had a question for Josh too there?
I've got all kinds of questions. This is a great track. It seems so frantic because it's a little bit smaller, but it is considered a super speedway, or it's just a regular speedway? To me, it would be just a speedway.
Yeah, it looks like a speedway, but it really reminds me of a super speedway in a lot of ways. Like I said, when I came off pit road, I had to stay. I was like, if I'm not in the draft, I'm going to be messed up. So the draft matters a lot.
And who made this track?
Gosh, I honestly don't know. That would be a Jamie question. I'm not sure. I know that RC has done some edits to it over the years, but honestly, I'm not sure.
Because I usually remember to go into the INI and actually read the credits, and I forgot to do that before this race.
Yeah, it's a great little track, though.
Was it changed from something else to be SMO Speedway, or was it created specifically for SMO?
That is a great question.
That's another Jamie question.
I was going to say, I feel like I've heard the answer before, but I better not. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it's a great track, though. A lot of fun.
Is it, do you guys run the restrictor plate here, or is it open?
It was I'm not sure of that either.
We're asking the wrong guy the wrong questions.
All the logistics, I'm not sure. Yeah, you better ask one of them.
All right, Josh. Well, congratulations on your third place finish. We'll give you a chance to thank anybody you want to thank, so the floor is yours.
Well, first off, sorry I sound like a frog. I've had a sinus infection this weekend. Yesterday I had no voice, and today I sound great compared, but apologies for that. But if I was going to finish behind somebody, I'm glad that it's behind Josh Boyer. He and I are good friends, and we talk about the sim racing community. He and I met 20 some years ago on this game and in the NASCAR racing games, and both grew up to still race it, and we both are band teachers. It's really amazing how that happened. But he's a good friend of mine, and if I'm going to lose to somebody, I'm in really good company up there. So congrats to him and Dennis for finishing first and second, and congrats to everybody on a good night, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, congratulations on your third place finish. And one thing you never want to do with Josh Boyer is bet on playing golf with him, because that guy is crazy.
Well, look, I met him several years in a row, and people in real life have told me, like, he is the golf master. So
yes,
he's
sir.
the race master and the golf master.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations on your third place finish. We'll go see if we can find Dennis Chambers and get him up here. Yeah,
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Dennis Chambers, you got Rod and Blaine in the booth, and of course Josh is in here listening, but you got a copy?
I do.
So, we had you pegged for the winner tonight. Well, we knew Josh was going to be quick, but we were watching you a little bit off and on, Mr. Strategy. Started in the back, and you just methodically and slowly but surely worked your way to the front. Kind of got in the back there a little bit with just, because starting in the back, you guys got separated. That one caution got the group back together. That kind of seemed to help you out, and then you just got up there and made your way up to second place. It's a pretty good run for you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I actually thought I had a halfway decent car. It wasn't 100% certain, but that's what my thought was. And yeah, obviously that, first caution when it came out was a huge help for a bunch of people.
Yeah, we kind of figured we were keeping an eye on you to see if you were going to do a fuel strategy. Like you're known for that. We've done a race over here once before where you snookered them really, really, really good on the fuel strategy. It was kind of watching to see if you were going to do that. Yeah, as always, you're one of the later ones to pit. Just, you're amazing at saving fuel and really amazing at doing a lot of the strategy stuff. So that's pretty good for you to come up there all through the pack there. Gotta get back up here again and get that W though.
Yeah, well, definitely was trying, that's for sure. I know with I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 laps to go, when Josh 2 and Croc got into running side by side. I got in the back of Croc and I lost a lot of momentum at that stage, and I thought, first thing I had thought to myself was that was probably going to be the killer as far as having any chance. But then we got around Josh, and I don't know, I would have liked to seen a couple more laps to go, but it is what it is. Still had a good run nonetheless, and obviously congratulations to both the Joshes.
Yeah, and it was kind of a neat, what we saw up there is that you guys had to lift a little bit into the corners, and how much, if you kind of overdrive it, are you going to really kill that right front tire? Or, did you have to use that kind of strategy to, be gentle on that tire? Because you could do about 27 laps on fuel.
Yeah, for me, it was, you definitely had to pay attention to it. But, I mean, you could run it hard and then kind of take it easy for, a couple laps, 3 laps or so. Then if you wanted to get back and run it hard again for a few, you could. And, I did, for me anyway, I did not have that option to do it through 1 and 2. That was automatic lift, period. Where 3 and 4, like I said, I could kind of choose when to do it and when not to.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, it looks like it's a fun track to race on. Blaine, you have a question for Dennis?
Yeah, we're watching you, reel in Boyer near the end there, and you got to him, but you just couldn't find a way around him. Do you think you could have made it happen if you had another 5 or 10 laps?
Well, like I said, I would have been happy to have a couple more laps, but again, like I said, and obviously nothing against anybody, it's racing at the end of the day, but again, like I said, I really have to emphasize when I got in the back of Croc there with 4 or 5 to go, that it really it killed a lot of momentum that I had, and between getting in the back of him and losing some speed and then getting out of the throttle at the same time, and yeah, I mean, to come back up through and still finish second, and be right behind Josh there at the end, again, I gotta be real happy and thrilled with how things took place.
Oh, it was a great race.
All right, Dennis, well, we'll give you the chance to thank anybody and everybody that you want to thank for getting you here, so the floor is yours.
Alrighty, well, as always, got to start with you guys for hosting and televising it. It's always a pleasure and always very well appreciated. Obviously, SMO for putting this event on, Jamie Tedder and the admins here, all good guys. As far as my sponsors go, Southern Maine Motors, Community Pharmacies, and like I said, coming home runner-up finish, things went very well, and hopefully we'll get a spot better next time.
There you go, second place finisher. We knew he was going to be up there somewhere around it, and ended up second for the night, so congratulations.
Yeah, thanks again, guys.
Thanks, Dennis.
Mr. Boyer, you got Rod Blaine in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, Brad. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing great. Long time no talk to you, but I have a feeling we probably chatting with you. Didn't know if it'd be in Victor Lane or not, but I figured that if you could keep it going, you would definitely be there at the end, you led a lot of the laps. Kind of, Crocodile Crawl got underneath you behind you there. I thought for a minute you were just going to sit back there, save a little bit of tires, save a little fuel. Points, there's no points, there's no nothing. And then, just as I started to talk about it, you roll back out to the front. So really a successful night for you, starting on the pole, led the most laps, and kind of went out there and got it, stole it from him.
Yeah, we just, had a good run, and I felt like you really needed to be in front to be in control. It was tough to get a run on guys to pass them. So whenever you did get that chance, I think you had to try and take it. So while I sat there for a little bit and was kind of thinking about saving the fuel stuff and saving tires, when the opportunity had that run on the front stretch to get underneath them and actually stick with them to the corner. And I know you guys have been talking about 1 and 2 and having a lift. So, really the preferred line was that middle high line in 1 and 2. So to try and pass on the low side, you really had to lift a lot, and you lost a lot of momentum that way. So when I had that big run into 1, I thought this could be make or break at times. So I took it. Yeah,
because it was kind of neat how, being it. I don't know if a restrictor plated. I mean, what was your high RPM, limit if you got to the chip?
Yeah, it was definitely unrestricted. You had the power right away off pit road and everything, but it was unrestricted, but it was also geared in a way that third and fourth gear were actually about the same gear. So really you had to kind of be careful on that. But I'm 99% sure it was unrestricted that night.
Yeah, and I know you with tire savings, you're pretty good at that. So worked out really, really, really good. Blaine, you got a question for Josh Boyer?
I got a question about, have you raced this track before? Because we know that with the pits being on the opposite side, I wondered if anybody got confused out there where they got to go to do a pit stop.
I had not raced here before, but I made sure to practice entering the pit road a few times and to know how deep you could drive it into 1 and 2 before you need to start to kind of slow down for the pit road there. So I definitely took a few little tumbles going in practice, so they got that straightened out, and that was helpful because we pit on the green both times, really. I mean, there was a caution, but really that was overall didn't really have a lot to do with the race, I think. I think that caution was kind of irrelevant because it came right after a bunch of green flag stops.
Who painted your car? Because we were admiring the Dodge Bobcat. Crossed out on the front grille there.
I painted this, oh gosh, it was quite a while back when this mod came out, and we ran this mod, I think, at Hobo for a little while. And
so you got Hobo on the quarter panel.
Yeah, so I just dug it out of the archives, and I kind of forgot that I crossed out the Hellcat and put Bobcat on it. And all my, in fact, all 3 versions of this car that I have that crossed out on it. But had the old university on the car tonight, wanted to represent them, and I think we did a pretty good job doing so.
Well, I tell you what, you did a great job. I had faith in you. I knew you were going to get it done. So we'll give you a chance to thank anybody and everybody that you want to thank, and so the floor is yours.
Thanks. Just first off, thanks to these guys for hosting that race tonight, and thanks to Josh too for always kind of reminding me, hey, we're racing tonight. Come out if you're available. And while I don't get out as much as I used to, tonight was a good night to come out. So thanks to Josh. We've been good friends for a long time, and he always reminds me there's a race going on, which is great. But thanks to all the guys. It was a great race tonight, really clean race, a lot of give and take for a track that could get messy if you're not careful. So a lot of good racing tonight with these guys, and thanks for you guys for broadcasting, and hopefully we'll see you some more this season.
That would be awesome. So there you go, and there's your winner tonight, Josh Boyer. No, I didn't have a doubt. I knew he was going to get it done. So congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Josh.
There you go. So
fantastic
that was
race.
I was going to say, what was the time on it? I didn't even look.
Broadcast time, we're at an hour and a half right now. And then the race itself, 50 minutes.
Oh, that was a good race. I mean, one caution, literally just, was it RC or Dick there had a little bit of an issue. Was it coming off pit road? Got a little loose?
Yeah, it was a pit stop deal, yeah.
So other than that,
I'm trying to remember now.
But
yeah, it was. It was coming out, and then he hit the apron and sort of upset the car. And
yeah, de-wedged it. That's right.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. You don't get too many of them like that. They're almost caution-free. So that was made for a quick race tonight for us tonight. So, but there again, when we get back to it, we always have to. So, tomorrow night we'll be doing RV There Yet on Tarnation TV Turbo. You'll be Thursday night with RTG.
Yep.
And then next Saturday we'll be at ASR. And then next Sunday, a week from today, we'll be back over here for the season finale of SMO with the Truck Series. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, next week, right back here, same time. Yeah, they always start around 9 o'clock. They qualify around 9:10. And yeah, if you want to get in on it, smo-gaming.com, take you right to the website. All the info is there. TeamSpeak, NASCAR Racing 2003 season. A game that will never go away, which is good because it's amazing. Best
it's a lot of fun.
Driving simulator you'll ever find. And congratulations to the 41 of Mr. Boyer.
Yeah. We only got 2 likes, which is, but
that's 2 more than
John
we should
Wall
get.
in there. Mackenzie was in the, Mackenzie Weston was in the chat. John Wall again, like I said. I think we didn't have too many people in the chat tonight.
No, yeah, different night for us too. We don't broadcast too often on Sundays, but yeah, we'll be here next Sunday, so definitely join us then. We're looking forward to it. That'll be a lot of fun. And again, I'll put up the schedule for these guys. You can see the little Tarnation TV logo is beside it. So next week, to be on the 15th of February, the Kenny Tribute, the Daytona season opener for 2026. You can see us down there. We're hosting the Bash in May at Kingsport. No points event there. Michigan.
That's another one of those enduro style, right?
Yeah, the Bash. Yeah. And then Hawk Memorial at Michigan in June. And I believe we're doing Homestead, which is the final race. So they got us on deck to do 4 races this season. But look at all those tracks: Knoxville, Martinsville, Texas, Talladega, Dover, Charlotte, Nashville, Michigan, Kingsport, Sonoma, Chicagoland, Lime Rock Park, Mesa Marin. What's that? I don't know. A short track, 0.5 mile short track.
It's called Mesa Marin. It's out west. It's a really kind of a fun little short track.
Cool. Yeah, it says it's a half mile long.
Yep.
And it's Mesa_PWF. So I guess it's a Project Wildfire track.
Yep.
That's cool. Bringing that back from 20 years ago. Darlington, Daytona, New Hampshire, Richmond, Iowa, Gateway, Evergreen, Kansas, Portland Road, Pikes Peak, SMO Speedway again, North Carolina, and there we are. Homestead, the final race of the year. We'll see you in November for that race there to end the season off. But yeah, thanks again to SMO for having us. Always super fun coming in here and racing with these guys and broadcasting with these guys. Thanks, of course, everybody who watching on YouTube, either live or on the replay. That's also a super cool and spiffy and pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Sir Weston.
Not a problem.
And of course, all the drivers, because without drivers, then this wouldn't even be a thing. SMO, 22 years strong. Here's to another 22. Why not, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And as always, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice.